G'day folks. Well, I've got it in there. I've got the Programmable 6LA2. I had a comment from Rob, good friend of mine. He always comments on my channel, every vid I put up, and he suggested that I mount, why not mounting it up near the vent. So I've got a huge vent area up here, and I got thinking about it, and I tell you what, he made a lot of sense. So that was a great tip there. Thanks Rob, really appreciate it. So that's how I've mounted it, so we're getting a good constant airflow over it. I've had the thing running, well, this was the first time today I started it up. It's about 25 degrees Celsius, so she just 20 degrees, started straight up. It's beautiful. It's running really crisp, a lot better than it's ever run. The timing light, when I had it on yesterday, it just varied. Well, I hope you can see it in the video, maybe a degree at max. And even when you rev it, it's just spot on. It doesn't change hardly at all, so I'm very happy with that. We're back on the mag pickup, so we've done away with the module, and now that we're getting a really, well, now that the Dizzy's locked out solid, we're getting a very accurate timing now. Now next step, guys, is to plot this, is to plug it into the computer. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take it off. These are doits, they call them, fittings, connectors. All you got to do is just unplug it, and I'll just unscrew it, and then I'll take it in onto my computer inside, and I'll hook it up, and I'll plot a chart, a timing chart. Very interesting. I'm going to do a video on that, and I'll set the camera up with the computer, and we'll go right through it, and I'll show you how I do it, and show you what sort of timing curve I'm sort of going to plot. I've got it in my head. I know where it spools up the turbo, so it starts ramping around 3000 revs, and by about sort of 3-4 we're getting pretty much full boost. So that's all I really need to know. With the 355 engine, I'll obviously have to regraph it or reset the curve because it'll come on a bit earlier. But with this little engine, yes, that's about where it starts. And it's, look, I tell you, it's going to make a big difference now. The idea is we start off around 20 degrees, and then say from 20, or say from 1000 revs through to 3000 revs, we're going to have a steep timing climb. So we may get up to around 32, 33 degrees, and then we're going to pull timing from say 33 degrees back down to, I'm sort of guessing, well, at least say 20 to 22 degrees by 3,400 revs, and we'll just keep it at that to red line. So that's sort of what I'm going to do, but I'll show you how I do it and on the graph, and it's, yeah, I've got it all loaded up, and it's just a matter of now me plugging in this and going from there. The cabling, guys, that they supply you with was huge in length, and what I've done, I've cut most of it out. This box gives you two retards, so, well, not, what do you call it? Rev limits, sort of rev cutouts, and there's extra wiring there for it. So if you're doing a burnout, for example, you flick a switch and you only want to buzz the motor to 4000 revs, it'll set that at 4000. So if you've got on the trans brake and you want to say 5000 revs, for example, there's another wire that you can liven and set, and it'll rev to that specific rev. So it's got sort of two launch control features in it, which is really good for the drag racer, but for me, I'm not sort of using any of it. I'll just have the rev limit set on it, which I've got to do on the computer, and that's it there. It plugs into there, actually, the unit, that wire, or the cable from computer to the box. Yeah, so I'll just set it at, I'll probably go to about 6.2, now. I was on 6.1 revs. I might lift it to 6.2 or 6.3 even. Just that little bit extra, but geez, I'm wrapped with it, guys. I'm so happy now. Like I said, the box stays really cool. This stays really cool. So I think now I'm really on a winner with this setup. This is really going to take advantage of the potential now that I've been missing out on, and I've been talking about it for a long time, so I'm very stoked with it, guys. So it's come up quite well. I'm actually quite stoked that it's not on this panel here, because I want to put a tacho in and maybe another gauge or two, and it gives me plenty of room for that too. So yes, alright, was just a little update on how I'm sort of got it all set up and working. She's working really well. Fingers crossed, guys, that I can hopefully take it down the track and test it later in the week. I'm going to get in contact with my local official, which is his name's Greg, and hopefully he might. I've noticed that he's been on his Facebook page. He's been down the track a fair bit, so with a bit of luck, he might be heading down later in the week or on the weekend, and I might be able to go down for a bit of a test and shake her down and see how she all performs. Alright guys, well that's it for now on that MSD box. It's been a long time coming. I've wanted that box for probably about 2 years, and I've talked about it for 2 years. So we're going to dive deep into it and show you how the plotting is, and we'll go from there. So I'm really stoked with it. I'm really starting to hone in on this car, guys, especially in the ignition department. I've got it all sort of nutted out and sorted, and it's a lot simpler if you understand what I mean, the wiring of it all now too. And I've got my head right around it, and I think I'm a lot more knowledgeable than I was bloody 2 months ago when it comes to wiring, so very happy. And by the way, I've closed my plug gaps too on my plugs. I've gone from 40 to 35 thousandths. We'll see how that runs. I've had a few people comment reckons 40 thou might be too much, but it's interesting because in the MSD manual they even recommend up to 50 thousandths. So we'll test it at 35, see how it likes it. If the water methanol injection and starts to sort of misfire and pop and carry on, I'll know exactly what's going on. So I'll be able to open them back up, and we'll go from there. So when I do go down, I've got to take my feeler gauges down and try that. It's all test and tune. That's what it's all about, guys. And this is how you sort of learn. You learn through your mistakes, through little changes. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. So that's what it's all about, guys. Alright, so we're set at 14 pounder boost. We're on 20-ish degrees sort of total timing when the boost ramps in, but I actually might change that, go up a degree or two, so we'll see. I feel it can actually run 25 or 26 degrees, but I reckon I might go for 22 on this sort of setting with the water methanol. Alright, I'll pop one up when I've got her up on the computer, and we'll give you a big rundown on it all and see how I plot the chart. Alright guys, catch yous later.